All right. Well, hello, and welcome everyone to our BG5 Live. Today is August 27th, 2019. This is episode 21. And today, this is going to be a really amazing, fascinating one. We're going to be taking a look at achieving union. So we're going to take a look at different ways in which we bond, different ways in which we connect with each other. Not only that, we're also going to be taking a look at the global cycle as well and how this plays into our global cycle. So, but of course, before we jump in and get started, we have to say hello to our panel. So let's start with Lavina. Hello, Lavina. Welcome.
Hey, Karen. Hi, Natalie. Hi, everyone. Glad to be here.
Great to have you here. And Natalie. And look at Natalie sporting her new do.
Yeah,
welcome, Natalie.
My picture. No, it's okay. Yeah, welcome. Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be here.
Beautiful. And Chris is on vacation today, so Chris won't be joining us today, but a big shout out to Chris, and a big shout out to all of you who are watching us on Facebook Live, and those of you who are attending in our BG5 Live Zoom room. So great to have you all here, and also welcome to you that may be listening to the recording as well. Speaking of which, I wanted to, before we jump into the topic today, I wanted to show you something that we just set up. So just a place where you can easily find past BG Live episodes. So it's actually mapped on to the actual day that we did the BG5 Live. This also gives you a sense of our upcoming BG5 free webinars as well. So if you go to our website at bg5businessinstitute.com/courses, that will bring you directly to our calendar, where again you can see that as we've gone through the BG5 Live, I've added them to the actual date, as well as the trait that we're focusing on. And if you click there, you can actually see our past BG5 Lives, and you can see it in the context of what day we actually did the presentation. So I wanted to let you know all of that. And like I said, we have tons of really amazing free information that we're doing in September. So we're launching all of our new courses here. So we have two BG5 Foundation courses. We have the BG5 certification course. We have the Profit Potential Workshop. We have tomorrow, for those of you who are watching live, we have a webinar on advisors. So here's a quick and easy place where you can get linked up with all of the things that we have to offer. Take a look and take advantage of all of our free webinars, and dive in and start to get a feel for what we do, and just test it out, try it out. So
yeah, and Karen, the blue areas are what's free, right?
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. So anything that you see that's standing out that's blue, those are the ones that are highlighted classes, and these are the ones that are for free. Next month I'll put in BG5 Live as well, but you can take a look and see what the free classes are. And again, you can click on them and directly register right there. So if you want to check any of those out, it's a quick and easy way to register and get in there. And again, as we go through today, we're going to go through some really amazing, cool stuff today. So if you do have any questions, so for those of you in Facebook Live, or for those of you who are joining us live in our Zoom room, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask questions as we go along. Also, if you're listening to the recording of this and you have questions, please add it to the comments, and we'll do our best to get back with you. All right, so what are we taking a look at today? So today we're taking a look at one of my favorite traits. It happens to be one of the ones that I have in my design, which I use on a regular basis. It is trait 59, and 59 is about achieving union. Now, we had talked about in the past, the purpose fulfilled through form, earlier, we're now in the area where purpose is fulfilled through bonding. And so this is one of the major traits of bonding. This is about achieving union. So what is the 59 trait all about? It's about bonding and intimacy beyond words. So it's that connection that you feel with someone that you can't necessarily put words to, that you can't necessarily describe, you know, because it is that connection. It's almost like, in essence, that spiritual connection that goes beyond just mere words. So it's that intimate connection, that intimate bond with others. And that can be, you know, that can be with your family, it can be with your friends, it can be with your loved one, it can be with your partner. You know, there's different types of ways that we bond and different types of relationships that we have. And when we take a look at trait 59, this is about the ability to break down barriers to achieve union. So again, that union, that intimacy beyond just words. And this is the potential energy for a deep and fertile connection with the other, resulting in life-creating union. Now, this can be physically, because this is also one of the traits of sexuality as well, or it can be in creating something new as far as a business or some type of creative endeavor. So this is a very creative trait. You know, and at its very basic, it is the creation of life. It's sort of where that starts, if you will, as well. So, you know, both, like I said, in the business sense and also in the personal sense in creating life. So this is trait 59. So you can see that it's very rich. It's very deep. And so I'd love to hear from you, Lavina or Natalie, anything that you want to share or add or see, or your experience with trait 59.
Yeah, you know, my experiences with you in classes is that it really pulls, this energy pulls you in to create an experience or to have this warm, inviting, enveloping experience. So I have a couple of teachers in the human design system who have this, you being one of them, and it really does pull people in. It's like when you go into a movie theater and you're watching this movie and it's just, oh, amazing, and you lose track of time. You totally lose track of time with this energy because it's so pulling and deep and profound. That's my experience of people with this that I'm engaged with.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Lavina.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you see, Natalie?
Yeah, well, I have the other side, so I'm really familiar with the other side of it. But the trait 6. But yeah, so what I get from my students is that the ability to break down barriers to achieve union, it's so easy for you to just how do you say, meet people, strangers, whatever, and start talking, or yeah. So it's really the initial openness, so to say, where I have the closeness. So yeah, that's really yeah, and there are several ways, as we will see, how that works, but yeah, so that's what Davina also referred to. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know, this is a part of my design, and so I'll continue to talk about it as we go through. But just as you know, both what Lavina and Natalie have mentioned, it is in a sense being able to connect with people at a very deep level very quickly. And so exactly what Natalie just said, you know, I can go to, you know, an event or something like that, and it's not that I'll connect with everyone. And again, this is something that is very specific. There's certain people that you bond with and certain people that you don't bond with. And but when there is someone there that is really there to connect with, that's there to bond with, you know, I can get to know them and break down those barriers and get to know them at a very deep level in a very short period of time. And this also, I use this particular trait, and this is what Lavina was alluding to as well. It's one of the OC16 strengths. So this is a large organization or a large group. This is also something that I do use a lot when I am, instructing. It's pulling everybody into the experience. This is what Trait 59 does, especially in the OC16. Is it gets everybody on the same page. It gets everyone, involved in, in my particular case, within the class. And so, like Lavina said, that you just sort of lose track of time. So, yeah, so it's a very, very powerful force. And what we're going to take a look at is we're going to take a look at, in a sense, more of the big picture and where it shows up in the big picture. And one of the places where it shows up in the big picture, we're going to take a look at it in sort of the global context and where we're going and where we're headed. We're also going to take a look at it as our public role, because it is one of the role traits. So we're going to actually explore the different role traits that have to do with bonding. How are you designed to connect with someone based on your public role? So we're going to be talking about that as well. So we're going to start, however, by taking a look at the big picture. Now, this may be, I'm going to share, this may be a little overwhelming. There's a lot of information here. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about. But we are in the process of this global change. So things are a little bit crazy right now in the world, right? And it's crazy because we are in this major transition time. And this gives you sort of an image or a picture of the change that we happen to be in. So since 1615, we have been in the era of planning. We've been in this cycle of planning where large organizations, big institutions, growth, expansion, that's all of the stuff that has happened in the last 400 some odd years. That's coming to an end in 2027, right? That's really close. It's only a few years away. We're moving into the era of the individual. And this begins in, I think I have 9 years here. It's less, I think when I originally put this slide together, it was 9 years. It's now, 8 years now? Yeah.
8 years.
So about 8 years from now. And where it's shifting is 2027. So we're right in the cusp of that right now. Now, why did I want to speak or talk about this? It is because it is part of this new global cycle that we're moving into. So if we take a look here, we have the 59 of achieving union. It happens to be in what's sort of known as the temple. So there's different themes, right? There's the way that we witness the world. There is, the example, the leader, the plan, the way, the temple, the nature, and the pattern. And again, this is a whole class worth of information, but I just want to focus here on the temple. And we took a look at the 46 trait not too long ago. And remember that this temple is this love of the body, right? It is this ability to really be present in our physical form. And where we've been is in aloneness, right? It's in trait 40, which is about aloneness. And this is about working for the good of the whole, but yet working alone. So it's kind of like you're, in a big crowd, but still you feel alone. What we're moving towards is we're moving away from these big corporations, these big institutions, these big governments, and we're moving into a way to connect at a deeper level. So again, taking a look at achieving union and moving towards, in a sense, this deeper connection that is also very, very creative, right? The 59 is very creative. So we're moving into sort of the more entrepreneurial spirit, right? This is the age of the individual. So it's going to be smaller groups, smaller organizations, smaller businesses that have, this creative potential that when you connect and bond with people at a deep level, it's unstoppable. There's almost nothing that you can do. There's no problem that we can't fix. You know, when you get the big, huge institutions with all the bureaucracy and all of the red tape and all of the regulations and all, you know, it's hard to move around. That's where we've been in the era of planning. You know, so just think about what's possible, you know, in taking a look at, you know, how we might bond and connect at a deeper level, thus being able to create things that we've never been able to create before. So with all of that, Lavina or Natalie, anything that you would like to add or share, or any questions that we may have?
Yeah, well, you've been teaching this for like, this is really your favorite topic, I think. And I remember from when I started with BG5, the era of planning, or the era of the individual, really was confusing for me, since we're talking about, especially here with the temple, so the love of the body, how do we feel in our body? So in the current times we're in, the era of planning, we feel aloneness, although, you know, we have these big corporations, as you say, etc. But the aloneness is in the sense that you just work for your paycheck, and you don't bother about your neighbor in the company, so to say, or you're just on your own, which is different from the era of the individual. The individual here is not like egoistic or alone, but just, you know, more and more being yourself, from like what we are talking about in BG5, like your unique self, and from that being able to connect and achieve union, in a more, with the 59, trade 59 coming up, in a more creative way. So I know, and I get this question also, so it's the individual, and the taste we have with individual is egoistic or alone or whatever, but it's kind of the opposite, because we will connect on a deeper level with others, and in that sense, so yeah, the way I imagine it, but nobody really knows what it will look like when we get there, but is that you know, you will be connected here and there. You already see that, like these smaller businesses who works 40 years now for a company, right? So you work here and you're associated to that group and to that group. Look at social media, and you're over here and you're over here, but you use your unique self. Whereas in aloneness, you were just a number in a company doing whatever you were doing. And, you know, nobody, it could be you, but it could be the next person as well doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And now it's really about you, the individual, and then achieving union. So yeah, it's fascinating, all of this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, beautifully said, Natalie.
Nice contributions. I would love to hear, Karen, because you touched on it really briefly, but I would love to hear your explanation about why our global economy, you can see everybody is moving more into independent, like entrepreneurship and contracting, and maybe a lot of people are on the edge and not really sure if they should move forward with their own business, being a consultant or that kind of thing. Maybe kind of tying in how the program, the background frequency that we're in, is actually helping support people to do this kind of thing. Would you like to share something on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And it ties into what Natalie just shared too. Because it is, you know, if we focus here on the 59, and actually if you take a look at all of them, you can start to see how it all unfolds. But really, in a sense, since we're talking about the 59 and focusing on the 59, there is this sense that with the era of planning, we've in a sense sort of given up ourself, right? We've handed our authority over to someone else, you know, whether it be the medical profession or the government or you know, businesses or whatever, that we don't trust ourselves. You know, we trust other people. And part of being an entrepreneur is learning what is correct for you as an individual, you know, and providing a service that others need. My thought, my belief, especially for those of you who are looking at becoming, you know, consultants or coaches, that type of thing, people are going to need it more and more moving forward into the future, because we've been lost. We've been lost in trusting everything else except ourselves.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we talk about a lot in BG5 is your decision-making strategy. You've heard us talk a lot about this in our BG5 Live. It all comes down to your decision-making strategy. So when you are making decisions correctly, when you are tapping into your true strengths, your true brilliance, there's a whole other thing that's possible. There's a way to bond with others, whether it is bonding as a coach and consultant, you know, whether it's creating a small team, you know, that you work together with a small team and you feel this deep sense of connection. I have to say, you know, I met Lavina once in person, but I've never met Natalie in person. I've never met Chris in person. I've never met, you know, Linda Bonnell in person. But I feel this deep connection regardless, you know, and there's magic that's possible in creating that connection, you know, and that's really what BG5 in essence is all about. BG5 is about achieving this union. It is about achieving the union, you know, first of all, understanding yourself, your own brilliance, your own creativity, what you are here to do. Then second, how do you share that with others? How do you share that with others in partnership? How do you share that with others in a small group dynamic? And how do you share that with others in a larger group, what we call the OC16? And even with the OC16, that's only 16 people, right? And you can get larger, but if you take a look at, you know, the closeness and the bonding that's possible, the creativity that's possible, you know, and not only the creativity and all of that that's possible, but being uniquely you, that you are working not for a paycheck. You're working because you have a mission, that you have a purpose. It's something that you love to do. It's making a difference for others versus, and oh, by the way, you get paid for it. Right? Versus the other way around. It's been the other way around, is like, oh, you know, it's basically, you know, selling your time for money. And you know, in the era of planning, you know, it's kind of like just being a slave to the corporation, right? Versus what you were talking about, Lavina, with the entrepreneurship of owning your own brilliance, your own creativity. And again, where we're moving to really supports that. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Very inspiring. Thank you.
Yeah. You know, so it's, like I said, it's, I would say it's a lot to move, a lot to look forward to. Again, we have this temple, the love of the body, and it's moving from aloneness to achieving union.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in achieving union, what are the different ways that we can achieve union? And like I said before, the 59 not only, you know, it is a trait that is going to be activated in the era of the individual, but it's something that is activated in all of us in one way or another, because it is it's one of what's known as a role trait, right? So all of us can relate to a particular piece of this. So what you want to take a look at, and what we're going to take a look at here in just a moment, is you want to take a look at what your public role is. All right. If you're not familiar with the BG5 terms, in human design terms, it is your profile. So your profile, your public role. So for example, I'm a 1-3, and in human design terms, that's the authority and the pioneer. All right. So what you want to do is you want to take a look at what is your public role. And I want you to listen carefully as we go through the 6 different ways to bond, because there's 2 ways that you're going to bond. One is a more conscious way that you bond. So for me, it's going to be the 1. And the other is going to be a more unconscious way that you bond. All right. So for example, Lavina, for the conscious way, it's the 3. For Natalie, it's the 5. right? And then for the unconscious, it's going to be the 3 for me and the 5 for Lavina and the 1 for Natalie. All right, so pay close attention as we go through each of these and kind of get the feel for, again, how are you designed to bond with others? So if we're taking a look at this in the business context, this is the way that you're designed to bond with clients. This is the way that you're designed to bond with customers. This is how you find them as well. So let's start with the 1. So quality 1 is the pursuer or the pursued, right? The quality 1 is the preemptive strike. You know, so the preemptive strike, if you're the pursuer, right, you're going after, you know, you're going after the client, you're going after the customer, you're going after a love interest, or you're the one that's being pursued. Somebody is coming after you. All right. So that's the first way in which we can bond. And that's the quality 1 bonding. Quality 2 is a shyness or a boldness. So the quality 2 is shyness, and shyness has sort of a seductive quality to it. You know, somebody's, you know, kind of shy, you know, but once they get a hold, you may see, you know, the other side of them, which is really bold. There's a yoga instructor. There's in the place where I do yoga, and there is a it's called body sculpt, I think. So when she teaches the yoga class, she has this very soft voice and she's very soothing, you know, and there's this kind of shyness with her. But then when she teaches the body sculpt, it's like, it's like, who is this person? There's this boldness to her, you know? And so it's this, you know, the ability to kind of be shy, and in that shyness, you can kind of check everybody out, kind of see, you know, what's going on. But once that's recognized and called out, the quality 2 is always being called out, there can also be a boldness there as well. All right, so shyness and boldness. With quality 3, I know this one very well, Lavina as well, bonds made and bonds broken. So quality 3 is about an openness. So it's an openness to experience, an openness to others, right? So for example, with my 3, I can connect with each other at a very, connect with others at a very deep level, you know, for this short period of time. And then we, you know, it's like, oh, we need to stay in contact. We need to do this. We need to do that. And then we step away, and then it's like the bonds are broken, and it's like, it almost like evaporates, everything goes away. So it's this connecting at a very deep level and then being able to step away. Bonds made and bonds broken. And then we have the quality 4, which is confidant or not. This is about brotherhood or sisterhood. And so what we know about quality 4 is quality 4 is really about connecting on a personal level. You're not designed to work with strangers. Notice it's brotherhood, sisterhood, it's confidant. Is it somebody that you trust or not, right? It is somebody that you're close to or not. So, you know, really how you're designed to bond is those within your network, you know, those that you're connected with, those that are you're properly introduced to within your network. Again, this quality of brother or sisterhood. And then we have the quality 5. So quality 5 is the seducer or the seduced. This is actually the quality that we have today. So this is the femme fatale or the Casanova. This is the ability, in a sense, to use sexuality, to use that to attract and bring people in. All right, so that's the quality 5. And then the quality 6 is soulmate or not. It's interesting that this is temporary union, and yet it is soulmate. It's like the deepest connection that you can have. This is actually the quality that I have in my design. I have 59 in quality 6. So this is, again, connecting very deeply at a soul level. Right? So it's, you know, it's beyond just the surface. Remember, we were talking about this is bonding beyond words. And so here you get, you know, the deepest bonding there is, you know, just connecting, if you will, as soulmates. And it doesn't mean that it's just, you know, one person that's your soulmate that we often think of. This is like just a deep soul connection with others. So those are all the different ways that we have to bond. And again, depending on your public role, you're going to have a couple of these. So I'd love to hear from Lavina or Natalie, kind of one, if there's any questions out there, but two, sort of how you relate to these particular ways of bonding depending on your public role.
Natalie, I'd love to hear from you first. And we had a whole bunch of people just join us. So I want to also shout out to Facebook and say, hey, welcome. We're talking about ways that you're going to achieve union through bonding. So what is your public role? And for Natalie, it's the 5 as her conscious public role. And so would you like to share what that's like for you? Do you
Yeah, they say it's conscious, but it goes very natural.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have 5 1, so 1 is unconscious. So I'm usually kind of not able to distinguish between the seducer and the pursuer, and the seduced and the pursued. You know, kind of what's the perspective where we come from. But yeah, I do recognize that if, yeah, let's say when you meet new people, you know, yeah, it's so strange to say. I use my femme fatale, my sexuality, but yeah, you do kind of go like, you know, and make those jokes or whatever. If you have your first butterflies with someone, the things you do then. I don't know how to explain it. So, and also in business, because, you know, this is in human design terminology, it's a lot talked about in sexuality, but here in BG5 we also have the unions you have, and the partnerships, and your colleagues, and your boss, and your clients, etc. Everything all is relationship, right? So we also have business relationships, and there being the seducer and the pursuer, etc. I'm just thinking, do you know what? Come to my webinar next week and see what I do. I don't know.
Well, yeah, you know, it is very attractive, the kind of quality that you carry as a personality. And for me, it's an unconscious element. My 5 is unconscious. My conscious is the 3. So I'm very conscious of, you know, being open, and then really, no, I'm done. I got to step away. I got to take a break or whatever. It's just that in and out kind of experience. And so I'd love to hear from our connection of people that are watching. What is your way, your role? Do you recognize it? And sometimes people will be like, no, I don't recognize it. And sometimes that can be because we're not in alignment. And that's a really big key to talk about.
And Lavina, since you also observe me, what do you see? Because if you say, yeah, what is it?
Well, see, Natalie, for me, 5s, and I can see it in your face, there's this attractiveness. To me, I find 5s very attractive. Like, it's just this beautiful, shining light for me is what I feel like, especially when there's a time of crisis or conflict, when there's a need. You run to a 5 and you say, 5, help me, you know, because they have this capacity to step in and take the brunt of a leadership position, even with strangers, especially with strangers, and be able to bring some practical solutions. So it's not just what I see, because on the body side, you're very detailed, you're very focused. That's what I see. But when it comes to when we really need help, it's like, okay, Natalie, help us out here, or Chris, you know, give us some leadership. And that's what I see for, and that's what kind of pulls us into that bond, is when you have a leader that you can trust, you really do connect with them, right? Because trust is a really strong bond. So that's my sense of it. Did that make sense?
Yeah. Your connection to the Cuban community too. There's something that's very, you know, like very sexy about, you know, the dance and the way they move, and there's something very, you know, very attractive there, you know, even in the dance.
Yeah.
You know, the Cuban dance, there's, you know, the seducer, there's the seduced. I was just at an Up With People concert. I used to travel and Up With People, and
Cool.
they did a song from Cuba, so I was thinking of you.
Yeah, no, true. There, and I must say, since I'm 30, I married my ex-husband when I was 30 years old on my 30th birthday. That's really when I came into my seducer, pursuer, whatever.
Yeah.
And I also feel it, you know. It, that's also something what I like about Cuban and Latin in general. I in the Netherlands and maybe in the United States as well, we're kind of also shy with our ability, our uniqueness, in a sense of being seduced or seduced. And when I'm around my Cuban friends, it's a totally different world. You dress up, you have your nails, you have your shoes. You know, since I'm Cuban, I have my wardrobe has grown dramatically. But yeah, all you know, and it feels natural. It feels nice, you know, and this is something that in the Netherlands we really tuck away. We you know, you just be you, that we say, and what is you is, you know, the homogenized you. Just um don't come above the don't be seen, you know. That's
Mm.
more the way. And in the seducer seduced, and in the Cuban and in the Latin, it's yeah, be seen and be bright and beautiful, you know. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And that's what the 5 is all about. That's the quality actually for today, you know, is this seducer, seduce this, you know, and there's, you know, that it's the sexiness, and whether it's the sexiness, you know, for yourself and, you know, for taking a look at business, the sexiness of the product, you know, there's, you know, there's an attraction there, you know, and you can use that you know, to your advantage in the correct way, you know, and it can be a really beautiful thing.
Yeah, I have a friend, and she's a beautiful woman, and she is in IT, and she sells. She is a consultant. She is no, she's not a consultant. She's the salesperson of the IT consultants, and those are quote unquote boring people, and she is really like the seducer. I don't remember her design, but the way she does business and the way she can make deals is like, hey, come on, you know, she's really playing the game, you know, and that's what I have to think of here. And you know, she knows what she's talking about, but she uses her, you know, her image, her being.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Any comments in our Facebook or BG5 live room?
I'd like to read one from Doa. She writes that I'm a one personality. I can see the preemptive strike for good or bad or ugly. When not following my decision making strategy, I come across as aggressive and sometimes offensive. Otherwise, when it's operating correctly, I can see how I can be pursued, whether work or sessions or personal friendships. That's a
Mm,
beautiful
Mm,
contribution. Thank you.
yeah,
yeah.
very nicely shared.
Yeah, and we see Lisa Maria saying, "I see the 5 in you, but Lavina." uh, Very seductive and attractive, big crush. And we have Stephanie who is saying, "I'm very trustworthy. My undefined ego, that's the willpower function, with no gates, no agenda." And she is a 3-5 public role as well.
Mm,
Yeah, that's the
yeah,
one that I have.
yeah, beautiful. Yeah, so this is amazing, something, you know, to look into. And again, we're taking a look at this at many different levels. You know, again, taking a look at the 59, you know, in the global cycle, taking a look at the 59, how it may show up for you personally, and taking a look at the 59, how it may play into your public role, you know, based on the qualities that you have.
Yeah, and then for today, look out where you are seduced or where you are seducing, right?
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to make it a little bit more clear for those of you who are brand new to this, if you do not have trait 59, but this is your public role, you look to the same line value that you have quality, we call it here in BG5, to find out how you are designed to bond. So I asked the question and we only had a few responses, and that's why I wanted to clarify. Like, this is your way, even if you do not have this trait. As Karen mentioned, it's a role trait. So it's like it reverberates throughout your design. This is how you bond in that
Yes.
way, either consciously or unconsciously.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you for that, Lavina. Beautiful. All right. Well, I just wanted to, the last piece here, I just wanted to kind of show you where it is in my design. I've already talked about it a little bit, but you can see it's unconscious for me. So again, anytime you see the red, this is unconscious. Any of the black is conscious. In the BG5 Foundation course, that's the very first class. So if you want to check out one of the first classes, again, you can go to the calendar, BG5 Business Institute .com/courses, and you can sign up for the foundation course. And one of the things that we take a look at in the very first class is taking a look at what this red means and what this black means and what the whole synthesis is all about. You can see that I have my 59 here. The V is of values. So part of my own values is this ability and the necessity to connect with people on a deep level. I don't like surface chit chat, I'm not interested in that surface stuff, so when I have to go to a gathering that's just on the surface, it's like really annoying. I'd rather just stay home and create stuff. But if there's this opportunity to create this intimate bond, so even if I am going to something that's more superficial, one of the things that I look for is, creating that bond with someone. And again, with the 6, remember, this is soulmate or not. And this is temporary union. So this is being able to go into a situation, go into an environment, create this deep connection. And the people that are going to that I'm going to be open to are those that I connect to, again, on that sort of soul level, connecting on that deeper level.
Temporary union, what it also says, even for a moment or for eternity, but the way, even in that moment, is through soulmate.
Yeah, exactly. And Lavina.
I wanted to share a recognition about how it is that you teach classes, because until I'd come to your class, I hadn't seen anybody do this. And not only do you make this little slide with everybody's picture, but you also put everybody's picture next to the things that are really important for them and their name, and oftentimes call them out, like really draw them into the conversation to engage people in an experience of not just knowledge of book learning, but actually putting the pedal to the metal, the rubber, where the rubber meets the road. Sorry, wrong analogy. Where the rubber meets the road of actual practical experience that generates a bond among people. So engaging them so that they have a conversation and they feel more connected, even as a group, where the classes learn together and grow together. I just love that about you and your design here. So I recognize a lot of it comes from this.
Yeah.
And Karen built a foundation for that. So we, as teachers, are following your example.
We follow her example. Yep. I learned a lot from that. Yeah. It really engages people, though. And you have people show up instead of just like, I'll listen to a recording later. But if you're actually there, you have a lot more of a learning experience in the group. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's really amazing. I just wrapped up one of the certification courses. It's 3 semesters long. So we just wrapped up one of the certification courses. And after being, with this group of people for 3 semesters, which is essentially a year, it was really difficult for me at the end. Oh. But the great thing is that we have BG5 Live. We have other ways to connect as well on an ongoing basis, and it's really something that is one of the core values, if you will, of the BG5 Business Institute is to really have that type of connection, to have community, to have people that you can share this information with, and that you can connect to. In that more personal way. And, you know, there is, you know, it's independent yet related. And it's, again, this is the energy that's coming in, is this, you know, deep ability to connect. And really what BG5 is all about is about, first of all, understanding yourself, but also it is about how do you connect with others, and how do you work with others in partnership, in small groups, in large groups. How do you connect with them at that intimate level so that you can create something brilliant, something that you love to do, and by the way, you get paid for it. Yeah.
I love seeing you in your creative flow when you do stuff that's really supportive for the group. We can really see how you just have endless, boundless energy for that kind of thing. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. It's nice to see in the design, having it play out and really seeing it in a person, displaying that personal power of being able to exemplify the design in its natural flow. It's very inspiring.
Thank you, Lavina.
You're welcome. Yep.
Yeah, I love this particular trait.
It's very cool. It is the coolest channel. If I ever had channel envy, this would be one of them. It's very, very cool. Yeah, it's super neat.
You know, and just kind of taking a look at the big picture of what it's connected to, we can, you know, we can see that it is connected to the sixth. So it's connected to emotional intelligence. And, you know, this is, if you will, sort of the pure emotional builder, if you will, because it is connecting directly the energy source, you know, this warm, enveloping energy source to the emotions. And so, you know, it is that kind of the source of emotions, that connection, you know, and ultimately, you know, one of the other traits that we're moving into, the 55, is of spirit. So again, it is this, you know, in a sense, a deeper connection to each other. And what we're taking a look at and where we're moving forward into the future, you know, is into the 59-6, right? So again, connecting at that deeper bond, connecting with people more on a soul level, you know, a soulmate or not. You know, so there's a, you know, despite all the craziness that's going on in the world, I think this is good news, you know, because I think we're learning to break down those barriers, break down those walls, learn how to truly be ourselves, learning how to trust ourselves, trust our decision-making strategy, and learning how to connect and bond with each other so that we can, you know, create a better world, create, you know, a better environment for, you know, whether it just be locally or whether it be, you know, the bigger picture, you know, from the family connection, you know, to the community connection, you know, to the broader. I think Connor, one of our evaluators, said, you know, it's learning how to be citizens again versus consumers, you know, really caring for each other at a deeper level. Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, if you are new to BG5, if you want a free report to find out what your career design is, you can get a free report at the BG5businessinstitute.com. Again, if you go / courses, you can also see all of our upcoming courses. So again, you can check out our past BG5 Live. And again, we have tons of amazing stuff coming up in September. So please be sure to check it out. And this is a great way to be able to check it out all in one place. As I mentioned before, we have a webinar tomorrow, actually, on advisors. So understanding the advisors. And then we have both Lavina and Natalie are going to be doing introductory classes to the BG5 Foundation. Then you can attend the first class free, take a look at the red and the black. And Natalie is also going to be having the first class free for the BG5 Consultant Certification Course. So if you have the thought in the back of your head that you may want to become a BG5 consultant and utilize this information with clients, like I said, I think we're at that time where a lot of people are going to be seeking and searching, like, things are not working, what does work? And, you know, this really gets in touch, helps you get in touch with who you are. It's completely transformational for you as well. Not only can you help others, but you have to transform first. This when I went through the BG5 certification, it was a huge transformation for me just going through the certification process itself. And then we also have the Profit Potential workshops. We have 2 of them that are coming up in September. We have the energy resource that I'll be teaching, and then we're going to start the whole series from the very beginning, and Chris is going to be starting that in September with communication and action. So you can also check out that first class for free as well. All right. So any last words from our panel or anyone else on Facebook or our BG5 Live before we wrap up for today? So any last words, Natalie?
Well, I hope with all the deep information we have seduced you to learn more about BG5. It's amazing. It's amazing information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And how about for you, Lavina?
Yeah, I agree. It is such profound and deep information. I hope you can join us for our live stream tomorrow. Actually, we're not live streaming that one, are we? We're just doing the webinar, so you have to sign up for that webinar. If you are an advisor, which is a projector in the human design system, you're an advisor, career type, please join us so that we can have a nice discussion. We're going to have some specific people we've invited to be panelists, so you're going to be able to hear from all different kinds of advisors, and they're one of the most complex career types, so hope you can join us tomorrow for that.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful.
And if you miss it, we will record it, so don't worry.
Yes, exactly. And we'll put it on the calendar. So if you go to the calendar, you'll be able to access the recording there.
Yeah, nice.
Exactly, exactly. Well, again, thank you, each and every one of you. Again, the exploring the 59, exploring how you bond, exploring how you connect with others, and just taking a look at that for yourself, and just taking a look at how that shows up for you. Again, as we took a look at, depending on your different on your career. Or in your public role, exactly. Taking a look at your public role, how that applies to you. And then, again, taking a dive deeper if you do actually have that 59 trait within your design, taking a look at where that shows up. All right. Well, we have come to the end of another BG5 Live. Look forward to seeing you all next week, and hope to see you in a lot of our upcoming free workshops and webinars. So thank you all very much, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.